Hello and welcome to Picture a Better Tomorrow, brought to you by United Way of Central West Virginia, Kanawha County Schools TV, Suddenlink Communication. This is a program about United Way, about the community, and about you. And so we're really blessed to have a person with us this morning that will talk to you about all the things that go on behind the scenes at United Way from a board of directors and governance perspective. So I'd like to introduce Brenda Grant. Brenda, during the daytime, you are the Chief Strategy Officer for Charleston Area Medical Center.
That's correct.
So before we start talking about United Way and board governance, CAMC is a huge complex, 4 different hospitals in the Kanawha Valley, 6,000 plus employees. What does the Chief Strategy Officer do?
Well, I have the most fun job at the organization. I'm responsible for our strategic planning process, and part of the work that I get to do is working with our community, and so that's always been a particular interest of mine, and I'm happy that I can continue to do that.
So strategy means accomplishment for the most part. You set a goal, you set a strategy, and then you reach out and you achieve something. So give the viewers an example of something that you've achieved recently.
Well, we recently received the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award, the CMC Health System, so it was all components of the organization. It's really a rigorous process that looks at criteria that help organizations to succeed, improve their performance, and be sustainable in the future. It was a 10-year journey for us. We worked long and hard, but have really put processes in place and now have the results to show that we've been successful in those areas. So it really was an honor for us to receive that award, the only healthcare organization in the United States in 2015.
That's what I was going to ask. How many other healthcare associations or groups received that award? And there was only one.
Only one.
And they're located right here in Charleston, West Virginia.
That's right.
That's quite an accomplishment. So this award dealt beyond healthcare. It dealt with everything related to the delivery of health services, if I understand correctly.
It does. It focuses on leadership, on planning, on customers and patients. It focuses on our workforce, how we measure and analyze information, our process and performance improvement, and then results. 450 of the points out of 1,000 are based on the results that you have as a result of the processes you have in place. So it's really caused us to be very rigorous in our processes to make sure we have processes, that they're fully deployed, that we review those, and that we learn from those.
Yeah, so part of the 10-year journey, I had the opportunity a few years ago to be interviewed by some of the reviewers.
That's right.
And this is not a 1, 2, 3 ABC kind of an event. These are people from all over the country that come in and look behind the scenes and look at everything that's moving. It's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So no wonder they call you the chief. So now, changing gears, you're currently the vice chair of the board of directors of United Way of Central West Virginia. You joined the board in 2009, so you're in your 3rd term as a board member, and as of our annual meeting, which is coming up on September 27th, you will probably be unanimously elected as the new chair of the board. So congratulations for that. With all the other things you have going on in your life, especially your extremely busy job at CAMC, why United Way? Why are you involved with the community in this way?
Well, I started out with United Way through almost the back door with community involvement. United Way was interested in doing a community needs assessment, and so I became involved in that process. And once I saw everything that was happening in the organization, I knew I wanted to become more involved. So I became part of the Community Services Committee. Wonderful committee, very active, 25 to 30 people meeting monthly to really look at the whole process of allocating funds, what's the best way to do that, how do we work with the organizations and improve the community through that area, and then moved into a greater board role. I think one of the things that I found about United Way is the true commitment in caring for the community. I think that one of our mission and vision goals is to become the charity of choice. And I think that's been really critical. One, when you give to United Way, one of the things that you can feel very confident about is that those dollars are used very wisely. The requests for funding go through a very rigorous process, and so there's an assurance with that, and I'm just proud to be part of that. I think United Way contributes greatly to this community.
So all the board members are volunteers.
Yes, they are.
All the board members, for the most part, have full-time jobs. So there's a significant level of commitment from that group, 24 to 26 individuals, to come together and provide leadership and governance to the organization. Does it really happen that way? Or is the governance really there? Is the board really in control?
You know, I'm on a number of boards, and this board is very, very active. When you look at the day-to-day governance, we of course leave that to you and the leadership team. That's not our role to manage on a daily basis. But the board is very involved and engaged in the activities, in the fundraising process, in the allocation of funds, and development of new programs and processes for the way funds are raised and allocated back to the community. It's a board of very committed people who are willing to give their time. So our board meetings are not rubber stamp by any means. There's a lot of in-depth discussion about the issues, and I think when we leave the board meeting, we have reached a consensus on the direction that we want to go.
You know, in the very first show we had this season, we talked about United Way and how it operates and how it reaches out over a 5-county area and touches a lot of different individuals and supports a lot of programs and a lot of agencies in those various geographic locations. So how are board members selected? Do you try to reach out and capture people who are involved in local communities? I mean, this is a really kind of a close-knit group within West Virginia, but we're also kind of standoffish at times when it comes to different counties and working together. So how does that work from the board membership standpoint?
It's interesting, during my tenure with United Way, we've gone from Kanawha and Putnam County to reach out to the other counties in our service area. And with that, you have to know those communities. And, you know, from the hospital perspective, we have patients from those communities. So we're able to kind of share that information and know what some of the needs are, and then to work jointly on the needs that are identified through United Way and our Kanawha Coalition to address health issues. So it's important that we have board member representation from those communities as well. The other thing we do, it's been a cycle of learning for us, is a board member inventory. So we put together a list of skills that we think are important for the success and the sustainability of United Way. And then we ask, of course, our board members to identify where their strengths were in those areas. Where there are gaps, we reach out specifically to address those gaps. So I think that's been helpful. It's been helpful for us also in identifying representatives from all the counties that we serve.
So do you think it's a good idea for prospective board members to serve as committee members, as you mentioned that you did early in your United Way volunteer career?
I don't think it's mandatory always, but I think it's very helpful. Community Services Committee is, of course, open to membership, and marketing and resource development as well. So people who have skills, who want to use those skills, what a wonderful opportunity to give you a call and say, I'd be very interested, or me, and say, you know, I think I have some skills, I'd like to use those in those areas. You learn so much at the community level. There's so much going on at United Way that's very, very detailed, and it takes a while to really understand the organization, how the finances work, how the processes work for allocation of funds. So yes, there's lots of opportunities to become involved. Another way is through our Day of Caring. I mean, there are many, many opportunities, so I think we can, reach the needs of lots of people who'd like to volunteer.
Yeah, you mentioned Day of Caring. Just a little promo here. We'll talk about this in the second segment as well. September the 21st, yes. Wednesday, September the 21st, we'll have 600 volunteers coming together for Day of Caring, so we'll talk about that in a little bit.
It's a great day. We have a team, and we really enjoy the opportunity to work in the community.
So what's in it for CAMC when Brenda Grant, the Chief Strategy Officer, is engaged with a community event or community organization like United Way and is the board chair?
Well, I think it gives us the opportunity to better understand needs in our community. Through the hospital, we really look at addressing community health needs. It's one of our requirements from our community benefit reporting, but it's something that we've done years, long years, way before it became that requirement. But it allows us the opportunity to work with United Way and others in the community to identify needs and then put support around those needs. That way, we're doing it in a comprehensive way instead of just allocating a few dollars here and there throughout the community.
And I'm going to guess that with 6,000 plus employees, there are probably some people in the community there are probably some people at CAMC that take advantage of the programs and agencies supported with United Way dollars.
There certainly are. And every year when we look at our campaign with our employees, that's one of the things that we like to share with the organization is that we have, I think it's several hundred employees who participate in organizations that are supported through United Way.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, you've been part of the Community Services Committee, you've been the chair of Community Services, you've been the vice chair of the board, which you currently hold that position, you've been the chair of the Governance Committee, and you'll soon to be chairman of the board. Why have you been that committed?
I really enjoy the work, and I can see a difference in the things that we're doing through United Way. I think our new campaign theme for this year, Picture a Better Tomorrow, is really, really what it's about. We have lots of health and social service issues in our communities, and being able to prioritize those, fund those, and see the difference United Way makes in lives of individuals is just really astounding. The dollars raised to help the flood victims. In the past, during the derecho, being able to provide generators to organizations that need them, to not only have the structured means of giving, but the flexibility to address needs as they arise is very, very important. It's very fulfilling to know that we're making a difference.
And that's one of the unknowns, I think. The unknown need that's out there 12 to 18 to 24 months into the future that nobody knows about, nobody's thought about yet, but all of a sudden it rears its ugly head, and the community has two choices. We can either say, oops, we don't like that, and we can turn and run from it, or we can hunker down, so to speak, and fight it as a community. And if everybody gets on board, CAMC and the banks and the insurance companies and the folks that are retired and the mom and pop grocery stores, then it becomes a pretty attainable goal to address those needs versus running from them.
Absolutely. And United Way and CAMC, as well as other organizations, are usually the first folks helping in those areas.
So a lot of people say, I don't have time, I'm raising a family, I've got a kid in college. How is it hard to juggle your significant responsibility at CAMC and your significant involvement with a nonprofit like United Way?
One of the things I really appreciate about you and your leadership team is you use our time wisely. Board meetings are about an hour or a little bit more every other month. Committee meetings are very much on time, an hour. So when we come in, you all are prepared, the staff is prepared to help us have the information that we need to make decisions. So that's very, very helpful.
So what kind of message would you like to give to people who are in the on the escalator of their career? Best way I can put it. They're the younger generation, if you will, that are they're thinking about their career, they're thinking about their family, they're thinking about their home and all the things that people think about when they're in their 20s and 30s and even 40s. What would you like to share with them relative to community involvement?
I think it's critical. I think it's fulfilling. I think it really fills a portion of your life when you really want to give back. I think United Way is a wonderful opportunity to do that. There are many ways to do that. And when you think about it, being a board member and spending an hour to an hour and a half 6 times a year to see the results that you see, or to participate in community services, which meets monthly for an hour, there's not a better way to know what's happening in